Hello and welcome. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Nolin Ebel Ame with the news. President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed his administration's formal appreciation to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, for the unprecedented strides being achieved recently in its renewed efforts at ridding Nigeria of drug menace. This was when he granted audience to the chairman and the chief executive officer of the agency, Mohammed Buba Marwa. This report will come in our subsequent bulletin. The United Nations World Tourism Organization has resolved to push the liberalization of COVID-19 vaccines to enable African countries have unfettered access to it. Tourism and culture ministers from Africa who are meeting in island Cape Verde unanimously endorsed the position. Anthony Forson reports.
Since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, tourism all over the world was shut down, and Nigeria was not an exception. The 64th UNWTO CAF meeting, which was also scheduled for 2019, is just holding. Now, as representatives of a continent, they chose the one-voice approach to confront African Union and the United Nations World Tourism Organization to see how Africa can be supported in its efforts to contain the pandemic.
Vaccine nationalism is hurting African tourism, and as such, those who are in possession of these vaccines should look more at a more equitable distribution of vaccines, and also the issue of vaccine diplomacy and the vaccine cards was addressed, and it was the consensus also that it's another a form of apartheid, because now if you don't give us enough vaccines in Africa, then you say we cannot even enter Europe. Also, the issue of travel advisories was adopted, and that it's not fair to issue travel advisories whenever there's any small problem in Africa.
But the big question is, how will this position be pursued?
One of the first official assignments of the new CAF president is actually to go and lead a team with the SG to the AU Commissioner for Tourism, to let him understand that issues such as vaccination, issues such as connectivity, and issues that will affect African tourism should be is a major and primary concern as AU Commissioner for Tourism.
The 64th UNWTO meeting is being attended by delegates from all African member states and headed by the country's Culture and Tourism Minister. In Sal Island, Cape Verde, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
And back home, the establishment of a health bank in the country will help in addressing funding gaps in the sector. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria who made this proposition emphasized that health sector funding is an investment on public health. Oluseyi Diabo reports.
They're going from everywhere, and it's not just doctors. It's nurses, it's pharmacists, it's physiotherapists, and it's not just about money. It's insecurity. It's also the conditions of work.
Dr. Mosunrayo Adetola, a Nigerian-trained medical practitioner now based in Canada, explaining the scenarios that encourage mass exodus of health practitioners from Nigeria, blaming the situation mainly on job satisfaction. Other guests also highlight gross neglect of the sector by state governments as part of the challenges.
If we are blaming the government alone, we are being unfair. We are part of the problems.
Who are the we though?
Nigerians. If it is mandatory that as you are paying tax, you have to pay something what you call health tax. It goes to a dedicated account which we manage by people with integrity that can actually help the system.
But right now, one of the things we are putting together in the Nigerian Medical Association is to present a proposal to Nigerian government so that we can establish a health bank. Because there's Bank of Industry, there's Bank of Agriculture. You must invest in health. It's not government alone will not be able to cater for the health. And when we are saying government, every time we say government, everybody is looking at federal government. What about state government?
The need for a functional health insurance scheme that accommodates a greater percentage of citizenry was also championed as critical to health care delivery. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
The Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Ihanire, has assured Nigerians that efforts are ongoing to bring to an end the industrial action by resident doctors. The minister stated this at the inauguration of Southwest Traditional Leaders Committee on Primary Health Care under the National Primary Health Care Development Agency. Femi Aforiogun reports that the inauguration was held at the Ooni's Palace in Ile-Ife, Osun State.
The Southwest Traditional Leaders Committee on Primary Health Care is an answer to the prayers of National Primary Health Care Development Agency to further improve the country's healthcare system.
We are therefore looking forward to benefiting from your enormous influence in the communities to change positively the primary healthcare indices in the Southwest zone.
The Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Ihanire, disclosed that a standard primary health center will be built and made functional, each in all states across the Southwest as a model, and the location will be decided by the committee.
The first and the greatest battle which we have to fight, Your Royal Majesty, is a battle against ignorance, which is responsible for furthering many diseases. Our primary healthcare centers are going to be platforms to educate, enlighten, and build awareness among the people.
He gave an assurance that frantic efforts are on to end the industrial action by resident doctors. The chairman, Southwest Traditional Leaders Committee on Primary Health Care and also Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Enito Ogunwusi, commended the federal government for the initiative. Ooni appealed to resident doctors to call off the strike, noting that this is not the best time as Nigeria is currently battling with COVID-19 pandemic.
Again to appeal to you that you should step in further. For the doctors, it's by their side to go back to work. You know you're doing your best with your entire team.
The event was attended by representatives of WHO, UNICEF, and other stakeholders in the health sector. From Ile-Ife, Femi Aforiogun, NTA News.
I'm still talking health. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has confirmed 631 additional new COVID-19 infections in Nigeria. The latest figures show that Lagos is topping chart with 172 new cases, followed by Oyo with 93, Rivers 72, Edo 63, Katsina 29, Abia 26, while FCT and Kano recorded 23 new cases each. Other states with new cases include Bayelsa and Ogun with 20 cases each, Ekiti 18, Anambra and Delta 16 cases each, and Osun 14. Imo recorded 11 cases, Benue has 6, Enugu 4, Jigawa and Niger has 2 cases, and the lowest is Nasarawa with 1 new infection. With this, Nigeria now has a total of 193,644 confirmed cases, out of which 179,294 were treated and discharged, while 2,488 died of the virus. A little bit on health again. The recent outbreak of cholera in some local government areas in Kogi State will require swift intervention and sensitization to prevent escalation. Jonathan Omajile has a report on how Kababunu, one of the affected local government areas, is combating the problem.
Researchers have estimated that each year there are 1.3 to 4.0 million cases of cholera and 21,000 to 143,000 deaths worldwide due to cholera. It was therefore not a cheering news when Austin Ojotule, chief epidemiologist in Kogi, recently broke the news of cholera outbreak in 7 local governments. Worse still, affected areas were terrains that could not easily be reached.
On a settlement after Taki, that is in Bunu district here.
What would have snowballed into a major head disaster was, however, brought under control following the swift intervention of the local government.
The community people came to us to report that 10 people have died of diarrhea and vomiting. They had to go down to the community and they purchased drugs with drips immediately.
Provision of water and sanitation is critical to prevent the transmission of cholera, a message health officials in the local government are drumming into the ears of the people. From Kababunu local government area, I am Jonathan Omajali, NTA News.
Mohammed has the next set of reports from our Maiduguri studio. Hello, Mohammed, it's over to you.
Hello, Nalin. Thank you for joining us in Maiduguri. Borno State government has constituted a committee of inquiry to investigate disturbance of public peace and other activities alleged to have been carried out by ACTED, an international non-governmental organization, at Imperial Guest House, Old Jare, Maiduguri. The 8-member committee constituted at the Government House, Maiduguri, is headed by immediate past chairman of Nigerian Bar Association, Maiduguri branch, Muhammad Umaru. Government House correspondent Mohamed Goni reports.
Governor Babagana Umara, who commended the role of international non-governmental organizations in restoring hope to traumatized people through various intervention programs worth billions of naira, however, expressed concern over the simulation saga involving ACTED. Governor Zulum also warned that his administration will not condone any act that will breach the existing peace in Borno and expressed confidence with the composition of members of the commission, stressing that they have been appointed based on their individual merits.
The state government is not unmindful of its obligations to its citizens and is very much committed to restoring law and order in all parts of the state.
He urged them to work judiciously to unravel the circumstances that led to the simulation training and ensure that the culprits, if found guilty, are brought to book to serve as deterrent to others. Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Barrister Kakasho Lan, said the constitution of the commission was in the exercise of powers conferred on the governor by Section 2, Subsection 1 of the Commission of Inquiry Law, Cap 37 Laws of Borno State 1994, and was necessitated in view of the shooting incident that resulted in the disturbance of peace to residents of the area, which brought about panic and fear. The 8 terms of reference of the Commission include ascertaining the nature and magnitude of the public nuisance and disturbance of public peace to the people in the general area of Imperial Guest House, Oljare, Maiduguri, as well as ascertaining how ACTED, the international non-governmental organization, was found to be in possession of 3 toy pistols and other items its personnel used in carrying out the simulation training, among others. In Maiduguri, Muhammad Goni, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Women Affairs has honored Governor Babagana Umara Zulum with Gender Friendly Award. The Minister for Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Talent, decorated the governor at the Government House Maiduguri during the handing over ceremony on houses constructed by Northeast Development Commission to the Borno State government. Again, Mohamed Goni reports.
Governor Babagana Umara was billed to be honored at the 21st regular annual meeting of the National Council on Women Affairs held in Uyo headquarters of Akwa Ibom State, but was postponed due to the governor's busy schedule.
It is the responsibility of the mother to encourage a child that is doing very well. And the governor of Borno State is an outstanding governor who has wide chairs on the faces of the less privileged, the vulnerable. If you recall last year, we decorated Mr. President the Senate President, the Speaker, and Edward Callum. And you happen to be one of the few governors that is honored here today.
Dame polling tally said Governor Zulum was selected for he or she award being conferred on leaders who have track records of outstanding performance because of his passion to the cause of the women folk and children. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
That is it from Maiduguri. Nationwide continues in Ibadan with Lanre.
Ibadan. The broadcast industry has been identified as a strategic sector in the fight against insecurity in Nigeria. This was the consensus of opinion at a seminar on the role of broadcast organizations in curbing insecurity organized by veterans of the first television station in Africa. Correspondent Rofia Animation Badmus has details.
The media, which is referred to as the fourth estate of the realm, has assumed the responsibility of probing and seeking solutions to national issues, given its role of informing and educating the public.
Find a convergence of views, a convergence of ideas, a convergence of solutions by the state actors and those who work in the media.
If the state is protecting citizens and the media is holding the state accountable for protection of citizens, and the two of them are in agreement that, they should collaborate to ensure the protection of everybody, then I think the tension we are witnessing in the country today will reduce.
Security is about interest, and then it's good that everybody understands what is national interest and key every effort towards that. That's when we can talk of a secured nation.
Journalism is about serving public interest, but you need to do the right thing.
Media personnel have therefore appealed to the federal government to implement the Freedom of Information Bill across the country to journalists in the interest of the nation. In Ibadan, Rofia Animation Badmus, NTA News.
Efforts of the federal government to control flood across major parts of the country have been commended. Osun State Deputy Governor Benedict Alabi said this at the inauguration of Ecological Fund Office project for dredging and flood control of Agbara land in Ile-Ife. Rotimi Akamo's report is here presented.
Over the years, residents of Ibadan Road, Ile-Ife, have been battling with flooding, which have destroyed many property. Relief, however, came from the Ecological Fund for the dredging and flood control of Agbara Canal. Inaugurating the project, which is about 3 kilometers, Osun State Deputy Governor Benedict Alabi rejoiced with the community for the timely intervention of the federal government.
There's no doubt that the project will bring succor to the community and its environs as it will elevate the hardship of neighboring farmers, road users during the rainy season.
Handing over the project to the state government, a Deputy Director, Ecological Office, who represented the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, noted that the intervention project was executed to arrest the persistent flooding along the canal to save lives and property.
They should please own the project, protect it to ensure its sustainability, because the federal government has sunk so much money here.
Other speakers at the event commended the federal government for the completion of the project at appropriate time. People of the area also urged the federal government to extend the dredging of canal to other communities that are still experiencing flooding in the state.
Let's now rejoin Nolin in our Abuja studios for continuation of Nationwide.
Very well, Lanre. Questions on ethics, compliance scorecard and ineffectiveness can now be let to rest with the inauguration and induction of the Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit of the National Center for Women Development. Charles Alpha reports that members were tasked to live above by showcasing high level of professionalism in the discharge of their responsibilities.
The Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit, an initiative of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, was approved by the Federal Executive Council to serve as a mechanism for corruption prevention. The people you see here are expected to undertake periodic sensitization of staff, system study, and review of corruption-prone processes and procedures. They are also expected to develop code of ethics, including corruption prevention guide for staff.
It is my belief that if we are able to defeat the scourge called corruption in our society, even the work for me and my everything here on improving the lives of women and children will be so much easier.
Inauguration of the unit is coming on the heels of non-compliance and a publicly classified corruption-prone ministry, departments and agencies in the ICPC rating of 2019. It is a drive to instill accountability and transparency in the conduct of government business at the center and MDAs that has led to what many described as innovative and timely intervention.
Be responsible and responsive as you put up effort in the fight against corruption. Don't use your position to witch-hunt or victimize.
Officers were nominated and approved based on careful selection criteria from requisite departments and units. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
We shall now discontinue nationwide at this point, for we shall be joining our outside broadcast for 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifier between Nigeria and Liberia at the Teslim Balogun Stadium in Lagos. I am Nolin Ebel Ame. Good evening.